So Trump is coming, and it's gonna impact the processing of visas in the different consulates and embassies worldwide. In this video, I'm gonna go over the different embassies and consulates that process different visas. We'll cover as many countries as we can, and maybe your country will be included. So make sure you watch this video all the way until the end. All right, so as we do every single month, I try to break down the visa processing in different consulates and embassies worldwide. This one is updated for November, late November, as we're heading to December. And the interesting thing is that embassies and consulates worldwide are gonna be starting preparing themselves for the transition in the administration. What does it mean for you? What is it gonna mean for the visa processing of your case? I'm gonna try to explain that in this video. Which categories of visas will be impacted, which countries will be impacted. I'm gonna go over this in this video, so make sure you watch this all the way until the end. The way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna go through the different countries. I'm gonna give you an update, the updates that we know about the different countries. And if I'm not covering your country in this video, please comment below. Let me know which country I missed in this video, and I promise you I'm gonna try to recoup in the next video. So let's jump right into the video and start with Lebanon. Lebanon right now is going through a big crisis. They're under war, and the US Embassy obviously is not working on routine visa services. They're working on a case-by-case only, of course providing services to US citizens and only processing visas for family members of US citizens and green card holders at the moment. If you need any other non-immigrant visas or other things like student visas, you'll have to do this at a different embassy. Typically, quite a few embassies in Europe will take Lebanese citizens. Moving to the US Embassy in Tel Aviv, resumed routine visa services. They're processing non-immigrant visas, immigrant visas. A lot of E2 visas are currently stuck in Tel Aviv. Very slow processing, but with respect to immigrant and non-immigrant visas, the embassy is working as normal. Again, if you have a CR1 case, IR1 case, or a K1 visa that is supposed to go through Israel, remember that there are delays, nothing to do with the backlogs. It's just that there are delays at this post, so please be patient. Moving to the US Embassy in Hanoi, Vietnam. This post is currently working routine visa services, been doing this for the past year or so. They're processing a lot of K1 visas as well as IR1 and CR1s. So if you're going through that post, it is working normally. In some cases, they also take third country national cases. So if you want to move your case from a different post, you may want to contact the US Embassy in Hanoi and they may work with you. The only delays we've seen in this particular post are for student visas. So if you're trying to get a student visa, the wait times currently are over 8 weeks. Moving to Jakarta, US Embassy in Indonesia, routine visa services. They're processing a lot of IR1, CR1 cases, K1 visas, as well as non-immigrant visas. The one thing you have to remember about Jakarta is that as of last month, they have new security processes at this particular post. If you're trying to get into the building, only small purses and plastic bags are allowed. If you bring a backpack, they'll turn you back and you won't be able to get in. You might miss your appointment, so be aware of that. Also, if you're trying to bring a translator to an appointment, you have to get pre-approval by emailing the post. Otherwise, they're not gonna let your translator inside the embassy. Moving to Canada, the US Embassy in Toronto and Montreal resume routine visa services for a while now. There are backlogs with family petitions. Remember, if you're processing family cases, IR1, CR1s, you will experience delays. But with respect to E2 visas, it's pretty normal. And a lot of applicants are applying as third country nationals. Canada is welcoming third country nationals, but you must clear it with them before you apply. Moving to China, US Embassy in Beijing and consulates in Guangzhou and Shenyang resume routine visa services. They process a lot of student visas fairly quickly, as well as non-immigrant visas and immigrant visas. We've seen slight delays in K1 visas that we've seen in our office and many other clients that report in some of the forums that we run. But if you have any feedback for us about K1 visas in China, please let me know in the comments of this video. Moving to India, the US Embassy in Mumbai resumed routine visa services. This is a very big post. They are processing a lot of student visas fairly quickly. Appointment times are about 5 weeks or less. With respect to IR1, CR1 visas, they are still behind. And if you have cases in India, you have to be patient. Quite a few clients are trying to expedite their cases, and in some cases they can approve those cases, in other cases they won't. If you're going through EB2, EB3, you're current, you should be able to get appointments fairly quickly in Mumbai. But remember, you need to be in touch with the embassy to coordinate that, because a lot of our Indian applicants are behind, waiting for over 10 years, and some of them are current at the moment, and they're heading back to get their visas. Moving to Colombia, U.S. Embassy in Bogota resumed routine visa services. If you have visa cases like H-1Bs or student visas, you need to be prepared to wait at least 5 weeks. With respect to immigrant visas, K-1 visas, we see normal processing. We don't see any more of the delays that we experienced about 6 months ago. The embassy in Colombia also has new officers and expect faster processing after January of 2025. Moving to Lagos, Nigeria, this embassy is still not working routine visa services. They're still behind on many applications, and they do prioritize certain cases. If you have employment cases that are currently current, they will prioritize you if you can show them the need to come to the United States sooner. If it's a family petition and you request a priority processing, they will consider. Lagos has new officers as well, and we hope that the backlog that we experienced last year will be definitely reduced this year. Moving to the U.S. Embassy in Brazil, Rio resumed routine visa services. They're processing cases normally. We've seen a lot of backlogs in Brazil in the past 6 months, but now they're normal. The only delays that we've seen is with student visas. Currently, it's very difficult to get appointments over there, and some applicants are complaining about unavailability of appointments, while others saying that there's no issues. There are more complaints about the fact that they can't get appointments, so be aware if you're trying to get a student visa, make that plan in timing accordingly so you won't be stuck and miss your semester. Moving to Thailand, the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok resumed routine visa services for a while. They're processing cases, non-immigrant visas, immigrant visas, CR1, K1 visas, as well as a lot of third country national visas. So if you're going to move your case from a different post in the region, make sure you contact the embassy first, get an approval, and then let MVC know that you are moving your case. Moving to the Dominican Republic, the U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo resumed routine visa services for a while. They're processing a lot of O1 cases from other countries. It's a big hub for O1 processing of third country nationals. They also have a new online system, and this new online system allows the applicant to pay fees, access the application online, which makes things much faster. Moving to Mexico, Mexico resumed routine visa services for a while. However, Mexico experienced long waiting times for immigrant visas. Specifically, if you're applying for an immigrant visa in Mexico and you need a waiver, do not schedule your appointment until your waiver is approved. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your time. So make sure that you, even if you're current, even if you have an appointment, reschedule it, because if your waiver is not approved to the appointment there, and the U.S. Embassy in Ciudad Juarez is quite strict about it. So keep in mind, while they're doing routine visa services, they're still backlogged compared to other embassies. U.S. Embassy in Manila, again, routine visa services is back. Student visas are way behind, and also K1 visas. If you have a K1 visa in the Philippines, you need to be patient. So what is going to happen beginning of January 20th, the new administration comes into place. We've got Marco Rubio, who's going to be the Secretary of State. Again, he is pro-legal immigration, but at the same time, I feel like they're going to put some restrictions, make the visa processing a little bit stricter for certain applicants, specifically those that are coming to the US after waiver appointments. We are worried that we're going to see more scrutiny at people applying for visas. So, if you're trying to plan your visa journey, do whatever you can right now to get your appointments on time, get your documents to the National Visa Center, do whatever it takes right now to avoid delays, because there may be some delays, there may be more backlogs once the new administration takes place. We don't know if they're going to impose any travel bans. We don't know if they're going to impose any new screening processing at U.S. embassies and consulates. Expect more 2-to-1G admin processing for interviews. So those are the things that we think might happen. We know that currently things are almost to pre-COVID in terms of processing levels at NVC and also at embassies. And you'll see that happening in more and more embassies and consulates worldwide. But once the new administration takes place, you will see that certain embassies and consulates will be stricter than others just because of the new officers taking over, new people coming in, new policies in place. And once those policies will be announced, trust me, we'll be making videos to let you know what's changing and what you should be aware of. So at the same time, this is the update for the embassies and consulates for this month. What I can tell you is that there might be some concerns with the new administration. All you can do right now is push your cases to embassy, give them all the documents as soon as you can. Don't delay sending cases to USCIS if you need to file. And once your document is complete, stay current on your case and communicate with the embassy to make sure you get your interviews as soon as possible. Once I have more updates, trust me, I'll post them in this channel. If you need help with your immigration matters, send me a text 619-483-4549 or go to www.immigrationsap.com. Leave us a message and one of our team members will contact you ASAP. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on our next video.